Greetings, nerdlings, and welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Racecraft, Murloc Edition. Murlocs are bipedal, amphibious, semi-intelligent, aggressive race, residing alongside coastlines, lake shores, and river beds. So basically anywhere there's water, you find these little shits. Murlocs possess bulbous bodies, large mouths lined with rows of sharp fangs, and slime-coated skin. Individuals range in coloration from turquoise to darkish grey, while their heights vary from 3.5 feet tall to 6 feet tall. Depending on the variety, Murlocs may lean towards a closer resemblance to frogs or to fish. The iconic green Murloc, for example, has coloration similar to the red-eyed tree frog. Though Murlocs are relatively new to the Eastern Kingdoms, it is increasingly believed that they are actually a very ancient race of Azeroth. These creatures have been moving inland steadily from their oceanic dwelling places and inhabiting more areas of Lordaeron. This move inland has resulted in them adapting to freshwater lakes and rivers. Their supposed intelligence has been debated. Some argue that since their guttural language is impossibly difficult to decipher, they have limited intelligence. However, their use of weaponry and uncanny fighting abilities imply a rather sinister racial intellect. Additionally, DEHTA representative King Murgle discovered after he had learned their language that the Winterfin tribe of Murlocs in Borean tundra of Northrend are as intelligent as any of Azeroth's more civilized races. Murlocs tend to dwell in amply populated coastal settlements, and it is unusual to find individuals wandering too far from their compatriots. Players looking to engage Murlocs should be wary of their surroundings. The creatures often lurk out of sight beneath the surface of the water. This tendency, coupled with their large social aggro radius, can often lead to larger pulls. Murlocs organize into small tribes and larger clans. The clans can muster their tribes into a fighting force when needed for invasion. Rarely, clans may join each other to form larger forces. Hunting or grinding Murlocs can be profitable, given that Murloc fins are an essential ingredient in common broth. Slimy Murloc scales are often in demand, with expert leather workers for use in crafting fine armour. Murlocs carry clams consistent with their level, as do most aquatic creatures, which can contain various grades of clam meat and pearls. It is possible that all Murlocs use clams as currency, as the Winterfin Murlocs do. In addition, certain Murlocs command hefty bounties because of their tendencies to terrorize coastal commerce and fishing locations. Murloc history. Murloc history is largely unknown, since most of their lore consists of their own oral tradition, which itself seems to be rote repetitions of unpronounceable forefathers. Murlocs speak Nerglish, a language shared by the Macrur. There are recorded instances of Murlocs capable of more structured speech, as evidenced by the conversations held by the Murloc sorcerer and troll during the Horde's stopover in the Broken Isles. Nonetheless, most of the currently accepted knowledge of Murlocs comes from outside observation. Most of what is known about Murlocs is readily observable by any traveller. As noted earlier, Murlocs tend to congregate on shorelines in densely populated camps and villages. They have been known in certain cases to worship enigmatic sea deities, including the Naga. Most importantly, the majority of Murloc tribes seem to harbour very little tolerance for most sentient races. Though known to the Night Elves on Kalimdor for some time, the Murlocs are relatively new to the eastern continents of Lordaeron and Azeroth. It is purported that Murlocs are actually a very ancient race of the world, at least as old as the first Naga, since the serpentine creatures are known to have enslaved a group of deep-sea dwelling Murlocs known as the Morgul. In recent times, the Murlocs became unwittingly responsible for the shape of the present-day Horde. Murloc attacks on the trollish Darkspear tribe spurred the Orcish Warchief Troll, at the time waylaid on the Darkspear Islands, and his warriors to drive off the marauding fishmen, and then to form an alliance between the Darkspear and the Horde, which lasts to this day. This Troll-Orc alliance would form the heart of the modern-day Horde, which the Tauren, Forsaken and Blood Elves would later join. Murloc Fate. Murloc Fate is strange. Some accounts report that religion plays a dominant role in their society, though they do not revere a single common deity, at least to our knowledge. Their religion is then polytheistic, animistic, and even a bit shamanistic. They have rituals involving communication with the sea and its powers. They worship the water and the powerful entities within it. Murloc beliefs incorporate powerful creatures that live around them, and their pantheons are dynamic, changing to include new creatures they encounter. They may add or remove creatures to their worship structure to reflect recent events. A tribe may venerate whale, or may even raise its status to whale god until a giant sea serpent drives it away, at which point their beliefs change to centre on the sea serpent as the chief object of their reverence. Another tribe may worship a Naga sea witch until she is killed by sharks, at which point she is replaced by the sharks. A nearby creature that exemplifies Murloc values, such as a strong shark or a quick fish, becomes a living symbol of the Murloc faith. As the animals die or move on, the Murloc faith mutates to find new symbolism in their surroundings. Some are known to revere the Deep Mother, a representation of the ocean. All things in the water are her children, though Murlocs have not been observed to unite behind a single deity. Some rumours claim that all Murlocs revere an entity called the One in the Deeps. However, it is unclear whether this is also a representation of the ocean, or if it is even an entity at all. Murloc villages. Murloc villages consist of a collection of rough mud and twig huts strewn about without pattern. These villages typically have no fire, no clear walkways, and no fortification. The huts are crude and plain, and the settlement is otherwise featureless except for the shallow basin often found behind the shaman's hut. Most huts stand on stilts to protect them from the tides and flooding. In sharp contrast to their primitive exteriors, the interior walls of most Murloc huts are often elaborately decorated. Some depict branching coral, while others contain mosaics of shell and stone, and yet others possess surprisingly delicate tapestries of shaded seaweed. The huts are usually open to the air, with small wooden pillars to hold the roof. Murlocs sleep in the water or on woven mats of seaweed, tied firmly enough to maintain their shape but still loose enough to look like smaller rectangular nets. Hooks of coral hold weapons and other items on the walls or pillars. Murloc artisans. Murlocs rarely work in metal and almost never touch fire. They are expert carvers, however, and can work stone, shell, coral, or wood into fabulous shapes and amazing scenes and design. One such example is a lifelike piranha carved from a short piece of coral. Shaman staffs are also works of art, carved to hold bone and shell chips as well as teeth, flippers and claws of various sea creatures not seen by most land dwellers. Black silt Murlocs of the Blood Mist Isle are also known for their stone-carved idols. Murlocs don't trade these items though. They typically trade only shells and seaweed with other raw materials, in the case of the Winterfin Murlocs, unopened clams. It is claimed that they sometimes award traders with their artwork after particularly good trades. Murloc languages. Murlocs speak a dialect of Nerglish, aka Murloc, and usually no other languages. However, some do learn other languages in order to trade shells and seaweed and other raw materials with other races. They can speak Common in some cases, but Nerglish may have been inherited from the Naga, as with other fish races. Murloc tactics. Murlocs are pack fighters, preferring to swarm opposing forces with overwhelming numbers. When pressed, the pack breaks and Murlocs run back to the safety of water, often leaving their allies behind. Some warriors view Murloc tactics as cowardly. More experienced warriors know better. Those who pursue the Murlocs to the water are crushed without mercy. Despite their monstrous appearances and weak bodies, Murlocs are cunning foes with sharp senses and sharper reflexes. Naturally, Murlocs are incredible warriors underwater. All too often when a Murloc group retreats to water, it is to draw enemy forces into the numerous hidden Murlocs' waiting claws. Underwater, Murlocs use their aquatic skills and numbers to decimate enemy forces. When engaging in battle underwater, Murlocs attack from all directions, using their numbers and amphibious bodies well. Like a swarm of piranhas, Murlocs dart out of the swarm and attack quickly, then retreat back into the safety of the swarm. Even trivial wounds are considered great hits, as the more the swarm attacks, the weaker the enemy becomes. Furthermore, the swarm does not allow the victim to escape. The strongest combatants can die of drowning or blood loss when engaging in underwater combat with a Murloc army. On land, Murlocs are not nearly as dangerous. Despite their agility, most Murlocs are slow and clumsy on land, ill-equipped for the rigours of dry worlds. Murloc forces rarely move far inland, except to find large bodies of water, preferring to stay near the safety of water. When forced to battle on land, Murlocs employ similar hit-and-run tactics, attempting to weaken the foe before going for the kill. Murloc Undead. According to Apothecary Renzetan, Murlocs retain their free will in Undead, though it is unclear whether this is caused by a natural resistance to the will of the Lich King, or if the undead Murlocs like the Forsaken broke away at some point from the Greater Scourge. Despite this, the Scourge were able to bolster their ranks with the Murgul, a group of undead Murlocs. Thank you for watching, and as always remember, play to game and game to play.